Tom Barrington, Barrington Engines here. I am here today. We're going to discuss a little bit of the differences between compression testing and leak down testing. Now, growing up in this industry and working with my dad, we always had people calling that would say, I did a compression test, I have a low cylinder. I have 7 cylinders that are 180 and one that's at 120. What should I do? And my dad invariably always said, go do a leak down test, figure out what it is, then call me back. And as I started to get to use some of the tools and everything to work on this stuff, I realized exactly what he was talking about. And I've got a 347 Ford engine I'm going to be playing with tonight. Customer brought it to me, said he had blue smoke coming out of it, is using a little oil and whatnot. So I thought before I take it all apart to see what was wrong with it, as I'm taking it apart, I'll do a leak down, and I'll talk a little bit about the differences between leak down and compression testing and show you what I think is the best way, which is obviously leak down testing, because that's what my dad taught me. Okay, here I have my leak down tester and a compression tester. Let's talk about the differences of these a second. My leak down tester is obviously snap-on, says so right up there. And this is an old, but probably brand new, never used, Hastings compression tester right here. A compression test, you screw this in the spark plug hole, you spin your engine over and over and over, and the gauge will go up and it'll get the highest reading you could possibly get in that cylinder. We'll just say for shits and giggles, it's 150. You go through it, you do all your cylinders, you get all done, you have one, let's say you have one low cylinder. Now, you know you have something wrong in that cylinder, but you don't know what it is. Now with a leak down tester, the main difference you have to use a leak down, well, you obviously have to have the 2 different tools. You also need an air compressor to use the leak down tester. So I think that if you're at the level of trying to diagnose your own issues in an engine, or if you own a shop, you have an air compressor. If you have an air compressor, you can get a leak down tester. You can get them for as cheap as $30 from maybe Amazon to hundreds of dollars at Snap-on or Summit or somewhere like that. Anyway, the 347 I brought in, or the customer brought in that I'm going to work on tonight, I started taking the intake off and the rockers off to make this process a little quicker and easier for you. And I discovered what is probably the root cause of oil consumption. I will show that to you here in a second. But we'll still go ahead and do a leak down on it and see if we can figure out if there's anything else wrong. This was the spark plug out of number 7 cylinder. You can see it's extremely lean, so we'll pay close attention to that. We'll pay close attention to all of them. But anyway, let's get on with it. All right, we're looking at the engine, the intake off, and right away, number 1 cylinder, take a look at that intake gasket. I think I found his main problem. Whoever built this didn't do a very good job. And herein lies, I think, the problem. He's sucking oil out of the lifter galley in through the number 1 intake port. And if I turn it around here and you look at the number 2 intake port, you can see it also has issues, although not quite as bad as the number 1 intake port. The rest of them don't look bad. Also notice the huge amount of silicone hanging over the china wall where they silicone the ends is a little excessive. You can see some here on this end as well that was around the distributor. But anyway, we will get set up here and show you how to run the leak down tester. First thing we're going to need, we're going to screw this into the spark plug hole. It's got a little O-ring on the end of it right here. 14 millimeter thread, and this one actually comes also with 18 millimeter threads if you're working on something really old. We screw it into our number 1. This is a Ford, number 1, right bank in the front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ford. Unlike you Chrysler GM folks, who everyone knows that's 1357 on the left and 2468 on the right. anyway, I digress. Let's get back to this. You screw this in. Now, I'm going to reach over here. I will grab my leak down tester and I will bring it into frame. We'll set it up here just so you can see what it's doing. I usually have it on a cart or something next to me. But grab our air line for our air compressor. We're going to hook that up into the leak down tester. Now, if you can see right here, it's got a gauge. You want to get it 0. So you adjust it. We're going to start at 0. There we go. Now we're going to hook the hose. We have air going into the leak down tester. And by the way, according to the snap-on instructions, I can use line pressure here. Hopefully, I don't know if you want to see me or not. But anyway, if I'm in there, we hook it up. You can see. Look at that. We're right about 8%. So, all in all, that's probably pretty good considering the engine's cold. You warm your engine up, the rings are going to expand, it's going to seat a little better. Now, the reason we all like in this industry to have people tell us what the leak down is, when you do it this way, you have a problem, you can figure out where the problem's coming from. You can, if it's going past the intake valve, you'll know. If it's going past the exhaust valve, you'll know. If it's going past the rings, it comes out the breathers. And if you're in the coming out past the head gaskets, I guess it would come past your water jackets. So there we are. Number 1 is 8%. We will write that down on our piece of paper, who is over here out of frame, but here we go. Number 1, 8. We'll set that piece of paper down, unhook it. We'll go on to number 2. Little story while I'm doing this. Use my camera up there a little. I don't know whether you're getting at everything or not, but back in January, I had a customer call me up. He'd taken his Jeep, 2 different shops. Both shops told him he had low compression in the cylinder, needed to have his engine rebuilt. He was calling around getting prices for a rebuilt engine. And a 6-cylinder inline Jeep from early 2000s, you know, it runs fairly good amount of money. There, I finally got that in. So, he called me up. I asked if he had an air compressor at home. He said yes, he did. So then I asked if he thought he could, where'd my airline go down here? Oh, old age. I asked if he had a leak down tester. He said no. I explained what it was, what it would do. He went to Harbor Freight, I believe, and bought his leak down tester. Wasn't very much money. He went home, did a leak down on his Jeep, and you know what? It only leaked past a couple of exhaust valves. So I asked him if he was comfortable pulling the head. He said yes, he was very comfortable doing that. You know, he was thinking he had internal engine issues. Come on, get to 0, will you? Anyway, he pulled his head, brought it in, and I don't know how many of you have ever worked on one of those Jeeps, but the valves, the exhaust valves, sink into the head. Because the unleaded gas, there's a coating on there, it comes from the factory, and it just doesn't last that long. This one is just at 10%. And did you notice, I'll get back to that story about my customer in a second. Did you notice when I hooked the air to it, it went ahead and pushed the cylinder down? Some people are kind of picky. They try and keep the piston to the top. They sit there and they hold it with a breaker bar and their arms vibrate and they sweat and their eyes bulge out. But we're just looking for something major wrong. Well, we found something majorly wrong already with the port there in the gasket, but unscrew it, put in the next one. Anyway, we're looking for something wrong, and obviously there's nothing here so far other than our intake gasket. That one was at 10. Number 2, we'll take our piece of paper here, write a 10 next to it. I'm going to do a complete rebuild on this with rings and bearings anyway, but I was just looking for something wrong when I started this. obvious wrong, nowhere to go when I'm taking it apart. Besides, and now I know there's an intake gasket issue, but maybe there's something else here. So we'll keep looking. Anyway, so my customer buys the leak down tester, and he found out it only leaked past the exhaust valves. And pulled the head off, brought it to me. The head was no good. So, another 10. Unlike Bo Derek, we will move, well, she was a 10. Anyway, we'll move on. The customer needed a new cylinder head. So I bought an aftermarket cylinder head for him. All new exhaust valves, gaskets. Put it all back together for him. Zeroes up. And he put the head back on himself. His total bill with the leak down tester and everything that he bought was under $1,000. So he saved a ton of money by figuring out what exactly was wrong, not just going by the word of a shop that said you have low compression in the cylinder, you need to rebuild your engine. The leak down tester will tell you, wow, this one's really good, 6%. The leak down tester will tell you if you have something wrong, where it's leaking from. And we're looking for something major here. Anything 10 and under is probably going to get you down the road. I didn't write 10 on the last one, so I better catch up here, huh? And 6. Well, they might not have known how to put an intake gasket on, but it looks like they figured out how to make the rings and valve seal. All right, we're going to switch and do the left bank, which on a Ford, as we discussed a little bit ago, is number... Quick quiz. What? Yep, you're right. 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, let's stick that one in. We'll go here to number 5. Number 7 is the one I'm really curious about because it had the... probably out of the camera now, huh? Move you over here. See me now? Now you see me, now you don't. Number 7 had the white spark plug. So that's the one we're really curious, I'm really curious about. See if there's anything wrong there. See if I have to worry about anything other than the intake gaskets. And just to freshen up on this, I believe I'm going to switch from, and I thought I turned that air compressor off. Apparently I did not. It'll only run for a second, it'll be off. Okay, we're finding zero here. I go too far one way, too far the other. There we go. Air's in it. Stay. They don't make this one a snap-on. The new snap-on leak down testers aren't as nice as this one, by the way. Sorry. Okay. Thank you, air compressor. That's why I wear earplugs during the day. Aha, now look at this one. See, this one, we're up about 15%. See, I don't know if you can see that. See, all the rest have been 10% or less on the other side. This one's up, actually, it's closer to 18%. So, therein is a problem in that cylinder. I don't know if I can hear. Can't tell if it's coming out of the intake port or the exhaust port, so it might be the rings here on this one. We'll grab our pad. Pardon my back of my head. Number 5 is 18. I like to give this information to the customer anyway, even though I'm doing a complete rebuild. The fact that I'm filming it, he'll be able to see I'm not telling a lie. Okay, let's try number 6. Re-zero it. Plug the air in. Engine turns over a little. You can see it. Well, as we're going back on the left bank, they're just getting worse and worse. This one is 24%. I'm getting messages from my family here on my phone, on my watch. Okay. Now, if you were doing this in the car, you would have your carburetor off, or in this case, your fuel injector off, and you would listen for air coming up through there. If you had all your exhaust on, you go back to your, unfortunately, you get on your hands and knees and get back there and put your ear up to the tailpipe. You would hear air coming out, because this is a pretty good leak here. And I can hear air. I'm not sure where it's coming from. So I'd say based on that sound change right there, it's coming out of the exhaust port. So I'll make a little note. Number 6, check that exhaust. So I can actually try and remember that when I get the rest of the engine apart, get the heads off of it. Now let's check out number 7. Re-zero you. Well, I'm glad we had a little bit of a problem, because otherwise this lesson would be kind of not as exciting. Here, we found another problem besides the intake gasket, and that's the number 6 exhaust valve. Oh, look at that. Number 7 had the white spark plug. 8%. Well, I guess it's just lean. All right, so we write down that 8, and we have 1 to go. And we'll put the air to it. I don't know why I always fight to make perfect, but you know what? This isn't horseshoes or hand grenades, so we try and get exact as we can. Last one, cylinder number 8. You can see the needle going down. And this one we're at 10%. So there we go. We have really 2 bad cylinders, number 5 and 6. And that is in addition to this beautifully installed intake gasket someone did. You can see now why I like using a leak down tester versus a compression tester. Compression tester, if we'd have just done a compression test, would have told us we had 2 low cylinders, or 1 anyway. This one might not have shown up that much. It would have shown us a low cylinder, but we would not have known why it was a low cylinder. By doing this test, and a leak down test, I was able to put my hand over the exhaust valve, and you could actually hear the hissing changing. Or not exhaust valve, I'm sorry, pardon me, the exhaust port. You could hear it changing, so I know I have an issue with this exhaust valve here. Based off of what we see, I'm guessing the rings are I'm going to replace the rings, but I'm guessing they're all probably pretty good. If you're going to take it this far apart, heck, this thing's leaking everywhere. Clean it all up. We're going to change rings, bearings, head gaskets, intake gaskets, do a valve job. I'll check the spring pressures and everything, and I'll probably do a little video about this engine when I start putting it back together. Thank you for watching. I hope I wasn't too, what's the term I'm looking for, confusing in what I was talking about. But my dad always taught me, always told people, the leak down is what you want to do. Don't do the compression test. Do a leak down test. It tells you a lot more. It takes basically the same amount of time. All you need that's different from a compression tester is an air compressor. If you need a do a compression test, you have to buy a compression tester. Because you might as well buy a leak down tester, buy it up front, do it correctly, and you'll know, if you have a problem with your engine, you'll know what it is. If you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comment section. Please subscribe. I'm going to do more and more of these videos about what my dad taught me, about what we do here. So have a good day.